It's so rich, so full. The great thing is, for everyone who's in Christ, we will get to spend eternity together. What all we're going to be doing, don't know yet, but I know it's going to be awesome, and because Jesus promises that. So today we're going to be in 1 Colossians 1, verses 19 and 20. 1 Colossians 1, verses 19 and 20. If you're new to this, it's in the New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts. Keep going a little bit further over and you're almost there. If you hit Revelations, you went too far, back up to where Colossians is. Colossians chapter 1, verses 19 and 20. So as we jump in, starting at verse 19, for it pleased the Father that in him all the fullness should dwell, and by him to reconcile all things to himself, by him, whether things on earth or things in heaven, having made peace through the blood of his cross. Why is this important? Because as we go through, we're going to see it's a beautiful picture of what's going on. For it pleased the Father. The Father was so pleased. And you're saying, well, how do I know? Well, even let's go back to Isaiah 53:10 for a second. Isaiah there tells us, yet it pleased the Lord, the all caps the Lord, that's God, Yahweh, for it pleased the Lord to bruise him, which is Jesus. He has put him to grief. When you make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord, Yahweh, shall prosper in his hand. Once it pleased the Father to bruise him, now it pleases the Father that in him all the fullness should dwell. And the phrase that we're, all these things we're going to be looking at, the phrase, the fullness, talking about the fullness dwell in him, it gathers into the grand climax, so to speak, the image of God, the firstborn of all creation, which is not a physical birth. It just means he is the preeminent one. God is the creator. He's the creator. He's the eternal pre-existent one. He's the head of the church. He's the victor over death. He's first in all things, which means he's the word is actually prototype. He's the prototype. He's not created. He did it all. You can't be created and then turn around and create everything. It's anyway. So it's on this that we take a look at it like John did. Christ, the fullness of deity, in the exhibition of that divine fullness of redemption that was consummated in heaven. It's so beautiful. It's just a beautiful picture of what's going on here. So as we continue on and looking at this, it is we who are reconciled. It is God who does the reconciling. It is we who are enemies. We are enemies if we're not in Christ. If we're in Christ, we were enemies. The divine patience, the love that God has, being so patient and so loving, but that perfect love that God has, because of sin, that is what brings on the wrath. God doesn't hate, because that's the opposite, but his divine love, because of sin, it demands wrath. There has to be the wrath of God. And if we're in Christ, we no longer are under the wrath of God. If you are not in Christ, you are still under the wrath of God. Whether you want to believe it or not, it doesn't matter. You're still there. So please recognize that God was pleased for everything about the Godhead to be in Christ. It's all in Jesus Christ. There's no other place to find it. You may say, well, I can find it here, I can find it there. No, you cannot. It's all there. And that's what we need to take our faith and our hope in. It's all in Jesus. And if you're there, then that's awesome. If you're not, you can get there. Just continue to grow with Him. Call out to the Lord. My heart for you as we go through this day and go through this time, because times are going to get tougher and tougher. You already see it's getting crazy out there, and it's only going to get crazier until we, the church, are taken out of here. If you're in Christ, you're not going to face the wrath of God. He tells us that. So my heart for you is have hope in Jesus. Hold on to that hope in Jesus. Hold on to this no matter what is going on. I love you guys, and I want you to have this. Take hold of it. Let Jesus dwell in you. You dwell in Him, and you will always have joy. Sounds crazy, but it's true. Life it's not about happiness, it's about true joy. And Jesus promises that if we abide in Him and Him in us, then we will have that, and we will produce fruit. Love you guys. Have a great day.